My name is Lindsay Lee Hobson, and I work with forward-thinking organisations to elevate their emerging leaders and create the ultimate next generation of leadership. I'm also the founder of the Learning and Development Collective, where driven and passionate L&D professionals come together to exchange trending topics, innovative ideas, and the best suppliers for their training calendars. I nearly said characters, Sarah. I've got that word stuck in my head because I am so looking forward to our interview today and having you come in as a guest expert to talk about all things leadership programs. So before we get started, I'd love to introduce the beautiful Sarah Morgan, who's the founder of Influential Leader Programs. Welcome, Sarah.
Hi, Lindsay. Thank you so much for having me here and allowing me to be in front of your network.
We are really excited to have you because, as you know, all our members request our topics and they've asked for some support with their leadership programs, their emerging leader programs, but also about leaders as coaches, which we were talking about before. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but you've got so many incredible insights into that. So before we dig into today's topic, tell us a little bit about a day in the life of a Sarah Morgan.
Oh, thanks, Lindsay. It's a bit unusual for me to be talking about myself in this way, but I guess for me, the reason why I love my job, it's so varied, and I actually did it by design because I love working with people in their business and what they're needing to do with their teams, and so every day is different. The challenges are always different, whether it's someone that wants to elevate into the next level, whether it's someone that's having a trouble with their team. So I'm either on the phones or I'm doing interviews like this, one-on-ones or presenting in front of groups.
Yeah, beautiful. And I've seen some of your work too, Sarah. We've actually done a little bit of work together, and you are absolutely incredible, not just as a speaker and a facilitator, but your leadership intel and your knowledge on putting leadership programs together is second to none. So we're really grateful to be having you in the evolution. And if you're a forum member watching this today and you're not part of our career development program in the metaverse, then reach out and let me know, but there'll be a way for you to do that around this video. So Sarah, tell us a little bit about your topic and your area of expertise and why it's important for L&D professionals.
Yeah, so I came up with the Influential Leader Program. We actually designed it and tested it in a neuro lab, understanding emotional intelligence and brainwaves and how people react in certain situations. And so from that, and also the experience I've had over the many years of coaching and training and teaching people, I've come up with this program that the foundations of learning are around growing your emotional intelligence. And so the great thing about when you work on your emotional intelligence, it's never ending. There's always more that you can be learning, and it is a skill that can be learned.
Oh, that's really interesting to know. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so one of the first parts of our program is just that self-awareness, understanding who you are, or how you're currently acting, and then how do you want to be? What do you want to be? How do you want to be perceived? What kind of leadership or what kind of leader do you want to be? Because often we just do it. We're busy, we check our emails, and then we just do what we do. But what I work with my team and my clients is that what is it that is going to work, and how do you want to grow people? And so when we're working with teams, you might even say, okay, well, this is the end goal for a 3-year period, 3-year goal or a 5-year goal. But what do we need to actually hit during that time? What milestones are important? And then how do we do that? And it's even things like, let's put a bit of stress on someone today and make sure that they can handle the work while we're still here to support them. Because we know maybe in a month's time we're not going to be there because we're going on annual leave, and we want to make sure that they can handle it when we're not there. So there's little bits and pieces of milestones that we hit and what we work with in our teams.
I love that because it's such a long-term perspective, and one of the things all our L&D members are looking at the moment, and the business focus is for a lot of them, what is the best way to develop and retain these guys? And a lot of the intel from the 360 surveys is deeper and more nitty-gritty leadership programs, really developing them to stay long-term with the company, because that's what people are really wanting as they're coming up through the generations. And you make leadership programs, the Influential Leader Program, that's for all levels, correct? That's for emerging right the way through to CEO? That's right, exec?
Yeah, definitely. So no matter where you are on your journey, you could probably do this course 3 or 4 times, because every time you would get something out of it. Because obviously, every time you learn something new. I think the programs are very important because education is a retention tool.
Yes.
And that's now more evident than ever since the pandemic, whereas people kind of thought, oh yeah, it's nice to have some education, and it's nice to have some leadership, whereas now it's like, if you don't have it, you're actually missing out on the best talent.
Yes, and we can't afford to be missing out on the best talent in this day and age, especially with the job market the way that it is. So, as our members are all L&D professionals and they're looking at developing their leadership programs for the next year and beyond, and they're putting those fundamentals in place, that's really what our training session with you is going to be about, and helping dig into their individual needs within their businesses and how they can get the most out of their leadership program and their leaders too. So if we'd love to know some of your insights without sharing too much, obviously, because if you want to see the whole thing, make sure you join the evolution. But we'd love to share some of your insights with those who are watching with us today around what L&D professionals can do to best create their leadership programs.
Look, I think it's getting started and understanding where your teams are at now and what's going to be needed. So just exactly like we were talking about in the beginning, what's the plan? A lot of people, especially like the younger generations coming into the workforce, they don't yet know what their goals are. But if you don't know what their goals are too, then how can you actually start coaching and leading them? So I guess the first thing would be, I would say, even before you come to our session and learn, is let's find out where they're at. What do they know? Have they ever been exposed to leadership programs? Because it's very different to someone that has never been exposed to someone that has. And you do have to start at the beginning. For even if what is it? You pick up the slowest person first on a walk. You keep their pace. So that's what you need to start with. So you want to build that quickly, because if someone's at a smaller pace than someone that's already gone through leadership, you want to bring that through together. And look, it is about individualizing the programs, but you can bring it in as a culture, and it helps you to build your culture if you can do this right and understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. And when they have done it right, what sort of results have you seen or insights do you have on that front?
Look, this is something you could probably take back to your CEOs as to why it's worth investing. There's growth. There's actually bottom line growth. When you have leadership in your company, you're going to see them develop leaders within their teams. And when people have leadership within the teams, then they can take on more work. They think outside the square. They're innovative, they're creative, they grow the business. And so, most, the boards and the CEOs often are looking at the bottom line. Okay, so investment today is worth probably a 30% at minimum increase in your bottom line.
Wow, that's huge. And that's so much value right there as an L&D professional watching this. Maybe you're a forum member, whether you're an evolution member. I can just imagine so many of them gone yoink, taking that and going to use that already, because that's half the battle trying to get these things off the ground. So thank you, Sarah. That's incredible. You can tell you're super passionate about this topic. So I would love to know, and I know a lot of our forum members love knowing these sorts of insights about our guest experts as well. What is it that makes you so passionate about this space?
I believe if we had a world of leaders, then all the little nicky things that people have to worry about will go away. So there wouldn't be bullying, and there would be innovation, there would be self-growth and business growth, and that all that you learn in your organization around leadership, it goes home with you. So your family learns it, the people around you, your community grow. So I just really think if we were to, change a whole bunch of people to be on the side of leadership and grow their emotional intelligence, then actually we're going to start changing the world. And it's heading that way. We've got a whole generation coming into the workforce, a whole, old generation moving out of the workforce in the next 4 to 7 years. It's going to look very different.
Yes, and I think that's some of the things that our L&D professionals really battling with at the moment, because what's worked in the past is not going to work in the future. And what does that even mean? Because that's a whole other world, and it sounds like you've got some really good insights to share with us on that front in our training session as well, which I know we're all very excited for, because as I said, this is the topic that our members have requested. So before we end today's interview, and we are so grateful you've joined us in the studio, tell us what your number one mic drop moment, your key takeaway from your training session, and those that are lucky enough to attend will be.
I guess the key will be building your teams through leadership, which sounds really wishy-washy. So let's get really nitty-gritty into it. Like, think about the challenges that you have on a day-to-day business, and we want you to be able to use the skills that you learn in this session to solve all of those challenges. So whether it's a communication issue, whether it's a staffing issue, whether it's a attracting or retaining talent issue, all of those things start with knowing what we're going to teach you in this session.
That is amazing. And it doesn't sound wishy-washy at all, because that's exactly what so many of our members are struggling with at the moment. And it's an ongoing battle. It just evolves for so many L&D professionals. So Sarah, we are so excited for you to be joining us as our next guest expert in the evolution. And as I said, if you're a forum member or you're just an L&D professional who is watching this and you're not a member of our career development program in the metaverse, which is called the Evolution, make sure that you have a look around this video for the best way to reach out to me so we can rectify that, because Sarah's session is going to be incredible, and all our guest expert sessions are recorded and in the Harry Potter style resource library, and that is as cool as it sounds, I promise. So make sure you reach out so we can get you on board. Sarah cannot wait to see you in the metaverse. I know our members are excited and we look forward to it. Thank you, Sarah.
Oh,